Yo, what's up, guys? Today I'm going to talk about a movie that I just watched. And if you have been watching the full movie reaction, then you know exactly what I think. But if you haven't seen the full movie reaction and you just want my opinion on the movie or a review, then here it is. But if you do want to watch the movie reaction, then you can click on the card and watch the full movie reaction. There are 14 videos about, the movie. It's a full movie reaction. And guys, look at that. 42% of you voted for this movie out of 13,000 votes. And I want to ask you guys, if you are not subscribed yet, 68% of you are watching my videos every day. But please check if you are subscribed, click that subscribe button, like this video, and let's go. Let's talk about this movie. So I have just watched it, and this is the movie poster. This is a movie that was produced and directed by Amir Khan, and let's talk about it. So the movie starts out with, for me, it was a very clear indication that the kid had learning disabilities or learning difficulties. Because of the very first scene, they showed dancing letters, they showed the teachers telling him, hey, you're getting low grades. 3 out of 20, all of these things. So you clearly know that the kid is struggling. And then the movie goes on to talk about the story of Ishan. And although this is a Amir Khan movie, we don't see Amir Khan until the second half of the movie, which was something that was a bit risky, because when you market a movie with such a big name as Amir Khan and he's not seen throughout the movie, some people can be irritated by that. However, this is a great build-up to tell the story of Ishan. It's a story that you can see the character development. You can see that Ishan, from the very first moment, he's a very kind kid. The director, Amir Khan, he did not want to portray Ishan as a naughty kid. Like, for me at least, at no moment I thought he was a naughty kid. So he was just misunderstood, and a very nice, bright kid. Lazy. He liked, to sleep. He wasn't too worried about things. So it wasn't about him being naughty. It was more about him being not interested. And then we see his struggle with his teachers who don't understand him. We see his struggle with education. He doesn't know what's going on. It's not his fault. And he keeps asking himself, like, his confidence keeps getting broken, and like more and more and more. And he doesn't understand what's going on. And then his father played a prank on him, saying that he's leaving for good because of his low scores. So that breaks a child's confidence, and, that shouldn't be done, by the way. And we see his relationship with his mother. His mother is, an angel in his life, and she is very caring. She's a mother. She's a very, mother figure. So there are stories that are going on. The relationship with his brother. His brother is very friendly, very loving. He's not an annoying brother. He's a very supportive brother, and very smart kid. So we see the relationship of him and his brother, him and his mother, and the lack of relationship of him and his father, which is something that is bittersweet, because his father is he's looking out for his son's well-being, but he doesn't actually know what he wants his son, or what he expects from his son. He's just expecting what society expects, good grades, be a doctor, be a lawyer. That's what society puts on, children. and that's what he's expecting. So he doesn't know better either. So the story moves in a storytelling way. Okay, it's not slow, but it's also not fast paced. It's not rushed. It's a very nice pace where you see every detail of Ishan, doing his shenanigans. Like, for example, he lashes out when the bully provokes him because he didn't, throw the ball correctly. So he lashes out, but then immediately he finds a kite, something he likes, and he's back to his old self. He's very forgiving that way. And then we see him, and his love for fish, his love for painting, and then we see the subtle details showing how he doesn't know how to, tie his shoe or, button up his shirt, how he always steps on a puddle and he gets in trouble because of that. His shoe gets dirty with the mud because he stepped on the puddle. And all of these details show what type of person, what type of child and personality he has. And then what happens is he's met with a point, or he goes to a point where he has to hide his grades because he's embarrassed and he's afraid of his father's and mother's rejection, which is something that was not talked about. Here we have his brother, which is getting great grades, and here we have him, who's not getting great grades. So immediately he associates, my bad grades will get me in trouble, so he evades it. He bunks school, he evades it. He starts being kind of like having a rebellious attitude because he doesn't want to get in trouble. So he doesn't know how to deal with it. So that's the storyline for the first half. Therefore, with all of this happening, all of the mistakes he made, because he doesn't know better, he was sent to boarding school. So that was the beginning of his downfall, but yet there was still something that would happen to change his life forever. So when he actually went to boarding school, he started shutting out, he started shutting down. He lost his confidence completely. He lost his will, his passion. He lost the joy of whatever he had. Whatever little happiness and joy he had became frustration, and he just shut down. I don't want to try anymore. So he was just living in a fantasy world. For example, we see that in the test where he took. He's living in a fantasy world that he just, it's a wild ride. Make it fun. If life gives you lemons, make a lemonade. But then he starts shutting out. The more he gets pushed down, the more he drowns in his own frustration. I'm gonna make this shorter because I'm going too much into detail. And then what happens is an angel comes into his life, which is this temporary teacher, Amir Khan. And we can see the teacher entry scene, which was a build-up. The whole movie was building up to his entry scene. We were like, I know this is an Amir Khan movie. When is he gonna come in? And he came in with style. He came in entertaining the kids. And at first you see that Ishan is not really interested. He's like, okay, just another teacher, and all teachers are the same. And then there's a lot of life lessons going on here. The teacher, he tries to know what's going on with Ishan. He goes to his parents' house. He understands the background that Ishan is coming from, and he understands that the problem is not only Ishan's ability to, well, he finds out two problems. He finds out why Ishan is depressed, and yet at the same time he finds out that Ishan has a learning disability. So he takes it upon himself to go ahead and help this kid. So my thoughts of the movie is that it was very nicely paced, very nicely written, and very emotional, very educational. It took me back to my childhood years, and I think many people can relate to this movie. So I think the whole movie was set as Ishan as the main character, not much as the teacher as the main character. The teacher was a sub character to Ishan, and honestly, Ishan's performance was astounding. It was amazing. He outacted everyone. The fine details of him paying attention, of him not paying attention, of him being frustrated, of him being inspired, the acting, the facial expressions, every single detail, you could see that, and you could believe that he had a disability. So the kid did a very good job. And then the character of Amir Khan was a great teacher, and he had great lessons. I loved the fact that he slapped the personality, or the, what you call it, not the personality, the ego of Ishan's father. However, that storyline was a good lesson, but I don't think that story, that scene was included to develop or to have a character arc, because there was no payoff. Now listen, hear me out. When Ishan's father started feeling emotions for his child, I thought, okay, so now we're going to have a montage where he and his child has this whole parental connection, father and son moment, and that never happened in the movie. So that scene was not meant for the development of Ishan's character. It was meant for you guys who are watching to learn a lesson, to learn a valuable lesson and connect with your children. And my suspicion of why this was not a character arc build is because I think what they wanted to do is they wanted to have the teacher and the student relationship, not the father and son relationship. So the mother and son relationship was there, but it wasn't predominant. So what they wanted to focus on was the relationship between a teacher, an educator, and the student. How he saved Ishan's life by giving him attention. So I think this whole movie had a clear message. Take care of our children, change the educational system. And I think it worked. Let's talk about the climax. Honestly, I did not expect that to be the climax. I thought the climax would be something completely different, and I thought the climax was a little bit predictable. I'm sorry to say. You guys might have also noticed. But of course, this is a 2007 movie. I think this is 2007. It's not a new movie. And I think back then, a lot of different climaxes were not yet explored. But as an avid movie watcher, I kind of expected it. I mean, you're going to have a competition. Of course somebody's going to win. Oh, then you're going to put the teacher against the student. Of course the student's going to win. Even if the teacher's drawing was better, which it was, technically it was better. Creatively, Ishan's painting was better, creatively. But I think, if you put a student against a teacher, the teacher will never win. He doesn't need that. It's not a competition for him. It's a competition for the children. So, the whole story of them being tied was irrelevant because we knew he was going to win. So I think the climax was a little bit predictable. However, there was emotion there, but it wasn't a tear jerker, if you know what I mean. It wasn't something that would make you cry because you were expecting this from the very beginning. So the movie just gave you what you wanted. Success for Ishan. That's what you were striving for. That's what you were rooting for. And then when it eventually happened, you're like, oh yes, okay. It's like, for example, you're watching a cricket match and you're like, we need a six, we need a six, we need a six. When he gets a six, you're happy, you're excited. You're not emotional. So I think because we were rooting for Ishan, there was no downfall. There was no moment where we thought, okay, Ishan is going to start losing, which normally happens in a storyline. Ishan was winning, 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 winning. He started to, button up his shirt. He started to write. He started to do a lot of different things. So this was, a winning streak. Winning, 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 winning. And because there was no downfall, we expected him to keep on winning. And he won. So there was no surprise factor. So it didn't cause an emotional reaction. At least for me. It caused an emotional reaction because it had emotion, but it didn't cause emotional impact where you start crying and sobbing, which was different from the other movie we watched. We knew the child was gonna start talking, but we didn't know when or how. And when it did happen, we're like, oh yes, because the child she never showed anything throughout the whole movie, any indication that that was actually going to happen or that was possible. We knew that, she had a problem, but we didn't know it was possible. For Ishan, it's different because we know it's possible. He started writing, he started reading, so it was a matter of time that he showed his talent and won over every other single kid that was, not as creative as him. He made a plane that goes on water by himself. Why can't he win a competition? So for me, it was a little bit predictable. I was like, okay, there's a competition, so of course he's gonna win. He's the protagonist. However, it would be sad if he lost, but then he learned a valuable lesson. So then the winning streak would fall. And then from the fall, an emotional dialogue would boom. Because you don't need to win to be loved, to be normal. And that would be a more emotional masterpiece where I would actually cry. Maybe you would cry even more. So I think what was missing in the climax was a moment of defeat so that he can, rise up. But all in all, it was still great. It was still a great climax, but it wasn't something that I would cry a lot or feel the emotion because I knew, it's like, for example, if your team is winning football, it's winning, 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 and then it wins the World Cup. You're like, hey, you expected it. But if your team loses in the first leg and you're like, oh, this is 5-0, and then it goes to the second leg and it's tied and it goes to the penalties, you're suffering. You're like, I don't know if this is gonna happen. I don't know if it's gonna happen. And then they score the very last goal. The keeper saves it, and you're like, it actually happened. They turned the whole game around. It was emotional, and I'm even getting goosebumps over here thinking of that, because that's the impact of going up, down, and then up again. So I think that's the only thing I didn't expect the climax to be so sudden, or in that situation, because that's what we all expected. Let me know if you were surprised in the climax. Let me know in the comments. Were you surprised in the climax, or did you already know it was going to happen? So I think that's the only thing I would work on a little bit better. But as I said, it was nice. It was emotional. And then here's another thing. In the climax scene, we saw Ishan hug the teacher. We're like, nice, that is emotional. But at the ending, we see Ishan hugging the teacher again. So the whole impact of Ishan's appreciation in the climax was undermined, or actually the whole ending was undermined by the climax. Do you know? If we hadn't seen Ishan run back to hug the teacher in the climax scene, it would cause much more impact in the ending, because we saw him get hugged twice and we're like, okay, so they're hugging now. So imagine if we did not see him hug the teacher in the climax scene, but in the ending he hugged him, we're gonna be like, whoa, Ishan is showing appreciation like he has never shown to anyone before. That would be a more impactful ending, I think. Because when you see things happening too long, you're like, I've seen this before. They have hugged a few minutes ago. So, you know. But I'm not trying to criticize the movie. I'm just saying that it wasn't the impact that I expected. I actually thought I was going to be blown away, but I wasn't. Not blown away in the climax. But it was a beautiful climax. It's a beautiful movie. It's amazing. Amazing actor, amazing writing, amazing music. Do you guys agree with me? You can agree to disagree, you know. You can let me know in the comments what you think. And before you say, oh, you didn't understand the emotions. I understood the emotions, trust me. I understood the emotions. I felt the emotions. I just thought that it could have had something different. Because here we have the substitute teacher is coming back. Ishan is going out for holidays. He's coming back. So their story is going to still be connected for the next, what, 5 years? Now, let's say the teacher is not coming back. He has to go out. He has to go away. But the seed that he planted in Ishan will live forever. Oof. Isn't that stronger? I will not be here with you, but you have learned to walk with your own 2 feet. Oh, that's even more powerful than him being, you know, I'll see you after the holidays. Hey, we're going to continue the good work that you are doing. Let's keep on, you know. So we need something to make us cry, emotional. He's not going to be here anymore, but I will prevail, because the lessons he learned, the lessons he taught me will last forever. That's much stronger, right? Like, for example, I talked a lot about my own story, and I got emotional when I was talking about it, because I talked to a few of my students, you know, but whenever I see the students using what I taught them, and I'm like, my man, it's emotional for me, because I saw how they arrived. You imagine someone with 0 English, and in 2 years they become fluent. In 2 years. Fluent. It's a miracle, right? I'm talking about this. I had a student with dyslexia, and he became fluent in English in 2 years. And I'm like, the impossible has happened. So that's something good. Now, if you're an overachiever, of course, you can get fluent in another language in 2 years. That's fine. But if you're an underachiever, nobody believes in you, and you strive, that's something different. But in any case, I'm talking too much. This movie made me talk a lot. I don't know. I raised a few points. I really loved the movie. I think the whole thing was amazing. But do you agree with me? Do you disagree? And guys, don't be angry. I'm not criticizing anything. I know some people get impatient, but hey, you guys are here for my thoughts, right? I hope you guys are not here just to watch the movie. You can do that in any other place. It's free on YouTube. The link is available on YouTube. You can watch the movie on YouTube for free. So I believe you guys are here for my thoughts, for my critique, and for my vision and my reaction. So let me talk. Okay. I've talked a lot, and I hope you guys enjoyed my reaction, and I hope you enjoyed my breakdown of the movie. And if you agree, let me know. If you don't agree, also let me know. I'm not, guys, I'm not right. I don't want to be right. I don't know. I don't have all the answers. I'm just a guy who has some thoughts about the movie I watched. So you guys can agree and disagree. As I said, maybe you guys like my endings. Maybe you guys like Amir Khan's ending, you know. But hey, nobody has a right answer, and I don't want to be right. As I've told you, my predictions sometimes are spot on, amazing. I love making predictions. And sometimes I'm even surprised with myself. Like, for example, I told him, show him Chinese. And I was like, what? At the same time, they showed him Chinese. I was like, wow, we're in, in sync. Bye, 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 bye. Some of you, my jokes go really fast, but some of you get the references. I like you guys. I like you guys. You guys that get the references, I like it. But as I said, some of my predictions are awesome. Some of my predictions are horrible, and I don't care. I don't care. I don't care. I don't want to be right. I don't want to be smart. I just want to share my feelings and my thoughts, So for all of you who have been criticizing a few things that I have said, maybe you're right. Maybe, and that's fine. That's great. I don't want to be right. And I'm gonna be honest with you guys. After I reacted to the movie, I thought, let me read the comments. So I took an intermission. I read some of the comments, and some of the comments really annoyed me. And I'm like, you know what? My feeling is like, I should just watch the movie off screen and give my review. Because some comments are they annoy me. Some comments annoy me. But most of the comments are very positive, and I love that. So thank you guys for supporting. Thank you guys for leaving good, nice, positive comments. And as I said, I don't care if I'm wrong. I don't care if I'm right. So the negative comments, they will just go past me, and the only thing that will happen is that, unfortunately, I will stop answering or looking at the comments as often. That's the thing, because I have I have to go through the bad comments to find the good comments, and sometimes I'm like, you know what? I'm done for the day. I'm gonna stop reading. I'm gonna ignore these people that are, saying bad things which have no context, and I'm just gonna keep on doing what I'm doing. So that's annoying, because I want to read your comments, and sometimes it's like, when you watch a movie, you want to watch the movie, but then sometimes there are so many bad scenes that you have to keep forward, going fast forward. And then when there's like too many, you're like, I'm done for today. I'm gonna, take a step back, and this movie is just too bad for me. And that's what happens sometimes in the comment section. So I'm opening up about that with you guys. I love watching and reading the comment section, but sometimes I step back and say, you know what? Some of these guys just don't get it. Some of these guys are missing the point. Most of you, 98% of you, are awesome. But the ones that trigger me are the ones that I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna step back today. I'll be back tomorrow. So never give up. Don't let the haters get to you. But what I'm saying is that sometimes it's not even a hater. It's someone who really didn't understand what you said. And what I want to ask you guys is, the police army, whenever you see someone do that, try to educate them. Don't step on them, but educate them. And then that takes the weight off of me, because I don't need to answer them. You guys answer them for me. You know, I mean, there are so many little things that I'm like, oh my goodness. Like the other time somebody came and called me a liar, called me a, I don't know what he said, but he said something, and he said, you're lying to your audience. You're telling them that you're reacting to the full movie, but you only reacted to 15 minutes. And I'm like, you serious? You're watching part 1. If you want to watch the next 15 minutes, go to part 2. That's how it works. Go to part 3. Go to part 4. Go to part 5. And these things are so irritating, so annoying, that if you guys educate, you know, them when you see them, it takes the weight off of me, because I don't need to educate them, because you guys got my back. So please, whenever you see a comment like that, don't turn a blind eye. Just answer them, educate them, and, you know, have my back. Or else I'm gonna be here like reading and gonna be like, I'm done, for no more internet for me today. That's my limit. And then I'll only be back tomorrow, and then I'm gonna miss out on great comments, because I don't want to do that. Anyways, as I said, this movie got me opening up, and I appreciate. I think these type of movies, they are great. You know, they get me closer to reality and closer to you guys, and it brings me back to my childhood memories, and, you know, it reminds me of why I'm here, you know, and what I do. And honestly, I think this is one of my favorite movies. It's probably in the top 3. When I did my Q&A, you guys asked me what were my top 3 favorite movies. So I think KGF, Bahubali, and probably this one for now, TAARE ZAMEEN Par. Probably. Because it was the movie that most touched me and it got me thinking. That's it. So if even after I said all of this, you guys think I didn't like the movie, patience. You're helping me practice my patience. Oh, guys, always smile, always keep things positive. I'll see you in the next video. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to join us on Discord. The link is in the description. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hey, thank you so much, guys. Thank you so much. I feel closer and more connected to you guys. So, you know, stick around. This channel is gonna go a long way, hopefully, because we have powerful supporters. And as someone said in the comments 5 months ago, and I still remember, powerful supporters make a powerful channel. I'll see you guys. Take care. Bye-bye.